Last week, Jagex released their Combat Achievements expansion blog, and today I want to go over a few of my ideas that can maybe improve it. Mainly because I feel like the general consensus toward this blog has been pretty underwhelming. You guys can let me know if you think differently. Now, again, when these combat achievements first came out, I feel as though, and I mentioned this in the previous ramble last week, that basically the entire premise of the rewards was to not be too enticing so that the average player feels the necessity to do these diaries. But I feel like Jagex has kind of changed their mind, and I honestly think it's a healthy change. I think you should be rewarded, and I know it sounds pretty biased because I do have a Grandmaster, or I do have the Zuck helm, so obviously it's a little bit biased, and that's just unfortunate. I am a player of this game, so I'm going to just be voicing my own opinions. But let me know down in the comments, guys, what you guys think. And, of course, before we get into it, drop a like on the video and be sure to sub if you haven't already. Thank you guys all for the support. We are, honestly, the sub count's kind of booming for my standards, so I really do appreciate it. Over 1,000 new subs this past month. Thank you, guys. Now, I have the blog pulled open, and I want to cover a few things that they mentioned. So, one of the things that was kind of weird is, well, there's a lot of weird rewards in this, I'm not going to lie. One of them, though, like the main one was the NPC contact being 7 cycles faster after Grandmaster, and they slowly introduce it. So, like at Master, it's 4 cycles, and then at Elite, it's 2 cycles faster. It's very strange, and the first point I want to make, and I have a bunch of notes, I was writing them down. The first thing is they should really just change NPC contact for everybody as a quality of life update. Like, seriously, are we really going to gatekeep just pure quality of life? Pure just time save that should already be in the game. The amount of time you're just sitting there watching your dude cast a spell to talk to an NPC around the game is just obnoxious. It's truly obnoxious, and it should not be given from one of these rewards. I feel like it should just be a global effect. And I also want to talk about the thralls being 100% longer and 50% longer at Master. So these we kind of covered. Now, in the previous ramble I made last week, I didn't actually share too many of my ideas, but over this past week, I've got to think a little bit, and I've got to kind of see what other people in the community have said about these proposed rewards. And the thing I'm hearing from at least Inferno speedrunners and other people that are like super high level and are like super gamers going for speedruns at Tob and stuff, they don't want thralls to be longer. They want them to cost a little bit less, and pretty much in the prayer department. They don't really care about the runes that you're spending. They could probably fucking triple the rune cost. It wouldn't even matter. But the prayer cost is kind of limiting in certain situations. So, as an actual benefit, instead of just increasing the duration by double, a lot of people have come to me and have said, hey, like in your next ramble, you should really consider this idea of, instead of doubling it, just half the prayer point cost and keep it the same duration. Because a lot of the time in certain situations, you need to re-summon thralls. It's inefficient a lot of the time to keep your main thrall out that's just trotting along, kind of losing its way, you know what I mean? So I would personally like to see the Elite rewards, and so right now, currently, when you summon a thrall, it costs 6 prayer points, and it must cost 6. So if you have 1 prayer point remaining, you can't summon it. You must have the full 6. So my proposal is that Elites now cost 5 prayer points, Master costs 4 prayer points, and Grandmaster costs 3 prayer points to summon a thrall. It's a very minor change, but it does a lot of good for Inferno speedrunners and stuff. People that truly do want to get to the Grandmaster level so they can speedrun a little bit more efficiently. That's the first thing I would like to see changed. So now there's another thing that's happening, which is, let me see. I could just go through my notes. I'm trying to like sort of interconnect this blog and my notes. But, Superior Slayer Monster Chance. So this was a kind of weird one. I didn't really agree with this, but I will say maybe it does make sense to be somewhat rewarded for completing these hard tasks. Like, just in case, I don't know, you don't have an imbued heart at 50 mil Slayer, which we've seen throughout the years of Iron Men, especially just going incredibly dry for these mega rares from Superiors. Now, I do think the increased chance is the way to do it. Instead of just buffing the heart rate or the gem rate, it is just more fun to kill more superiors. So I do like the way they've kind of handled this. And the 1 in 150 chance from Elite, I think could actually be a 1 in 175, and then it would get better as you go down. So it would be 175 here, and then 1 in 150 for Master, and then 1 in 125 for Grandmaster. Now, that might be a bit extreme, but keep in mind, I mean, yes, it is a little bit, it's a pretty good benefit. I'm not going to lie. But it's not the end of the world, and it wouldn't absolutely force somebody to go for Grandmaster. They could just accept the lower drop rate. But if you really are one of those gamers that's like, I need a fucking imbued heart, then you got to push for these higher tier diaries. So, like, Master, I feel like for most people that have, like, max combat stats can complete Elite tier without too much issue. Now, I know people are, like, newer to the game and stuff, but Elite's pretty easy to get, and that 175 boost will already be kind of enough. And then if you really want to push yourself and you have a little bit better gear, Master is definitely available to people. I know the team tasks absolutely suck. That's the main thing I see in the comments. Are people just saying, combat achievements suck because there's always team tasks. Well, that is true. I'm kind of, like, with you there. It does suck that you have to organize teams. But at the end of the day, it is an MMO, and there are resources to do that. There's some Discords. I know there's the Grandmaster Discord where Grandmasters that are already Grandmasters will help out people aspiring to get there, and they'll help them with their team tasks, perfect job and stuff. So it is possible. Reach out to people. Reach out to some Discord communities. Join a clan. There are people that are... There's a lot of people in the same boat that want to get this, like, all the team tasks done. So a little bit of insight there, just like these are possible. Now I'm gonna go to my notes exclusively now because I feel like trying to navigate this blog might be a little bit difficult, but I have a few more ideas for the general theme of combat achievements, so not like tier specific. Well, I guess they are tier specific, but they cover like a lot of the tiers. So the first thing is, let me actually scroll up on this blog. Oh, this. So like a boss, I'm okay with all the changes they've already made. So up to 65 boss kills on Grandmaster, and then you lower by 5 every tier. I think that's totally fine. There could be some adjustments, but it feels unnecessary. Whatever. That looks good. But when it comes to God Wars Dungeon KC entry, I did suggest a few changes. So one of them was hard. It would actually only be 30 follower kill count. And there would actually be one for medium, which would be 35. So medium 35, hard would be 30, elite 25, master 20, and grandmaster would keep at 15. I personally think, I don't know, even though, yes, you should be more rewarded for the grandmaster, like the way they've leaped from 25 to 15 makes it seem like, okay, I really want to push for grandmaster, but it really does negatively affect the grandmasters that are nexing. This is generally what I see with Nex, is like you'll have a grandmaster that can get his KC really short, but then you have somebody that's only completed the elite tier, and you're literally just waiting for them at that point. So your benefits not even really being that great. And of course, that's only for Nex or any sort of team God Wars you're doing. But I really do feel like they could be tightened up a little bit and more, I don't know, streamlined, I guess. And honestly, I really don't like these like 32s, these kind of like weird numbers. I like the 25s and the 30s. It just feels a little bit more natural. It's easier to just remember. I know that's really minor, but like that's my opinion. So again, medium 35, hard 30, elite 25, master 20, and grandmaster 15, just lowering by 5 each time. So let me know what you guys think about that. Now, I want to also offer this as a reward. So I've heard a lot of people saying they hate having to bring the Book of the Dead when they want to cast Thralls. It's an extra inventory spot that's basically fucking useless. You just got to have it there. So I have 3 different suggestions, and I want to hear what you guys think in the... I'm struggling right now. I went to the actual bank instead of the deposit box. I like fishing these Karambulans, by the way. Like, they're just so chill. Fishing barrel is fucking busted. Anyway, so there's 3 different options, and I'd like to hear your guys' take on them. One is make the hilt act as a Book of the Dead. So the new hilt that you get from the diaries, that would just act as it. But For the most places where you're summoning thralls, that's fine because you're going to have your hilt. Like, the hilt is a very... Oh, especially when you're Master and Grandmaster, when it actually attaches to the Avernic. Then you're basically bringing that wherever you're summoning thralls, except for Inferno. So Inferno, you're never really bringing a hilt. I don't see why you ever would unless you're meleeing it. But that's why I bring up another option, and that is that at the Master and Grandmaster tier, maybe just Grandmaster tier, it depends on... the community's thoughts. It could just be this reward where, hey, you no longer need a Book of the Dead. That's it. You just no longer need one. The other thing was, like, the third option is kind of a mixture, is just allow the Divine Rune Pouch to act as a Book of the Dead as well. So you can just kind of attach the power of the Book of the Dead to your Divine Rune Pouch. So you guys will have to let me know. Those sound a little bit weird. I feel like the best is option 2, where you just get to Master or Grandmaster, or whatever tiers sounds appropriate, and then just make it so you just don't need a Book of the Dead. Now, I want to cover... Ooh, okay, this is one I want to talk about because this is a little bit confusing. And it also might be a little bit too strong. You guys will have to let me know. Allow the Slayer helmet to charge and store slaughter and expeditious charges by using them directly on the helmet. So this is a bit extreme. So the reason this is OP is because now you can actually use your good gloves, your ferocious gloves, or your Zarite Van braces, or your tormented bracelet. So you're not sacrificing DPS, and you'll still get that expeditious or slaughter effect. So on the actual Slayer helm itself, there would be 2 new options, which would be slaughter and expedite. And whenever you click one of those, it'll just toggle it. So you can just shove as many slaughter bracelets, and they still have to be the bracelets themselves. So you just use noted bracelets on your Slayer helmet, similar to using noted rings of recoil on your Suffering. It would be the same sort of thing where it's just charged all in your Slayer helmet, and you get the effect. And then if you want to use Expeditious, you right-click your helmet and click Expeditious. If you want to go to Slaughter, click it on Slaughter. And if you want to just have it neutral and go back to neutral, then you just select Slaughter twice or Expedite twice. So anyway, sounds a bit OP. Now, you couldn't retrieve the bracelets after you consume them. So it'd be like the Ring of Suffering, where once you've put them in, they're there forever. But it would be quite OP because of the DPS increase. But it really is just a huge quality of life. That alone, I think, would just get a lot of people into combat achievements. Now, it really depends what tier is appropriate for that. I mean, obviously, Grandmaster sounds appropriate, but could we go lower? Could we go to Elite so a lot of other people benefit from that? I don't know, because a lot of the people that really want this quality of life don't really like PVMing. They like efficiently skilling, which involves efficient Slayer. So a lot of people don't want to go out of their way to try to complete Grandmaster for that perk. So I'm thinking maybe Elite is even appropriate and just get a lot of players to enjoy that nice Slayer helmet perk. But that is very overpowered. I would literally say it's overpowered, not even just good, just actually maybe a bit overpowered. Let me know. Now, I want to go into the individual tiers, starting with Grandmaster, actually. So I mentioned this on Twitter. The hilt, first off, let's go back to the blog real quick. The hilt is gaining a little swanky cosmetic kit on Master and Grandmaster. It's going to look really sexy on Grandmaster. So you can attach it to your Avernic, which is really cool. But I would like to see the hilt. Right now, the hilt has the God Wars Dungeon teleport and the Moral Wreck teleport, which is the Inferno place. I want another one, which is the DK's teleport. And I've mentioned this before. You guys have already heard it. DK's teleport for Elite, it would be 1 teleport. Master, 3 teleports per day. And Grandmaster, unlimited teleports. And it would teleport you into that little teeny section where you can peek underneath and see who's there in the layer. I think that's totally appropriate. DK's is so fucking old, and why the hell in 2022, almost 2023, it will be 2023 by the time these rewards even get implemented, if they do, we're still running through that godforsaken cave all the way there. So I think that would be a good enough perk. DKs are not that OP. I've heard the argument like, oh, it's just going to be a spec pool regen, thing. First of all, you're literally already limited by the spawn delays of the DK, so it's not really going to be speeding up too much. Now, you could do some crazy world hopping metas, but that's already in the game, and going to your pool every time is literally going to be more inefficient if you're really trying to sweat. Anyway, that's just a little point to bring up. But I do understand that is a concern, so I'm not going to just totally brush it under the rug. Now, for Grandmaster, I would also like to see those clue benefits that I've been talking about for over a year. Literally, when combat achievements came out, the first month I was suggesting this on Twitter, is that for Grandmaster, you get a 5% higher chance of receiving a Mimic. So currently, Master Caskets, it's a 1 in 15 shot of getting a Mimic when you click open the casket. That'll turn into a 1 in 14. And then for the Elites, it's 1 in 35 currently for a Mimic from an Elite casket, and it'll be changed to a 1 in 33. So just a minor little upgrade, and it fits thematically with the easy through Elite tiers of the 5% extra chance at clue scrolls. And for Master, it would be a 5% higher chance of receiving a Master clue from a lesser tier casket. So, for example, Easies, right now, it's a 1 in 50 shot when opening an Easy casket to receive a Master clue scroll. This will make it into a 1 in 47, and all the way down to Elite, where it goes from a 1 in 5 to a 1 in 4. And the reason I think this is actually very appropriate, I know that seems like a crazy leap going from 1 in 5 to 1 in 4, but right now, Elites are in such a shit position that this would actually sort of increase the incentive to complete your Elites, because now you actually have a 1 in 4 shot of getting a Master from it. So I feel like this is just a net positive change. I know I'm the clue scroll guy, so a lot of people, when they hear me say clue scroll, they instantly just get really offended and butthurt, but that's just how I feel. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Now, the Moral Wreck teleport, which I mentioned a little bit earlier, that is already on the hilt, that teleports you into... Here, let me actually see if I can just go there real quick. Moral Wreck, where is that? So, in this place, there's a bank right here. Oh, shit, you guys can't even see this, I'm sorry. There is a bank right here where people bank for the Inferno and then run over here for the Inferno. The hilt teleports you right here. I'm not kidding. There is no, like, dynamic spawn where you can sometimes spawn over here. It's always right here, and you have to run around this fucking thing, go over here, go to the bank. It's so obnoxious. So my proposal is that the hilt at Grandmaster, you get unlimited teleports. Then before that, it doesn't really matter, but I really do feel like the teleport spawn should be changed to right here, inside the bank. It would, because like right now we have the Crafting Guild bank, which is already like, I don't know, the max bank, I guess, where every efficient player goes to bank. This would become the super elitist bank, basically. I mean, that's... I don't know, that might offend somebody by saying this is like the absolute elite bank, but it really would be, because it would be the fastest way to bank. The only downside, which is actually really isn't a downside anymore because the Avernic can be attached with a hilt, is that you need the hilt. So Maxcape's really convenient because it's always fucking on your back. This would obviously be an extra item, but because it's attached to the hilt, it would just be really nice. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. I know I say that a bajillion times. I gotta fucking stop. You guys already get the idea. Anyway, let's go back to the blog. Well, I guess we don't need to go to the blog. I'm going to just mention a few more. So, that is it. I believe... okay. Here's a big one. I already mentioned the Thralls, so Grandmaster would get the 3 prayer point Thralls. This, I think, is going to solve the problem of Inferno Andy's Turiel skipping for like 4 hours on end trying to get an Infernal task. My suggestion is that starting at Master Tier, so we're skipping down to Master Tier real quick. After completion of Master Tier, you now have the option to go to a Slayer Master. This unlocks the option, by the way, is completing the Master Tier. Now you have the option to purchase with Slayer points double Tazar tasks. So it'll double the weighting of Tazar tasks. And I'm also including boss tasks in that. So you have the option, and you can even have both on if you want. So it would literally decrease. I don't know how the whole algorithm would work, because obviously increasing one task would obviously have to reduce some in other areas. I don't know how it would all work, but what I want to see, the essence is basically double Tazar tasks at Master Tier, and it costs 2,000 Slayer points to unlock that perk. So it's not just free after completing it, it's also gate kept behind 2,000 points, but it is a permanent unlock, so you can toggle it on and off freely without having to pay the 2,000 again. And that goes with boss tasks. That would also be a separate one that also costs 2,000 Slayer points. Double boss tasks waiting. and you can have both of them enabled if you want. So you're just getting a shit ton of Tazar tasks. Not a shit ton, but you're getting double the waiting. So right now what I've heard is that on average it takes about 45 minutes tutorial skip to get an Inferno task. This would speed it up to about 23 minutes. And boss tasks obviously would be a little bit faster as well to get. And then with Grandmaster, there would actually be an option to triple the waiting. So those don't stack, obviously. It would just go from double to triple. And that would cost 3,000 additional Slayer points per either Tazar or boss tasks. And so it would be a total, if you wanted to get all the unlocks, it would cost a total of 10,000 Slayer points, which is quite hefty, but I feel like it is fair. It's something where you have to complete super hard combat achievement diaries, and then you have to have enough Slayer points to enable these unlocks. And then I feel like it's a really nice perk. The Tazar one, like people that go for Grandmaster, usually a lot of those players love to Inferno speedrun, and this would be a massive help for them at Grandmaster. Getting skipping Turiel and getting that task would only take about 15 minutes, which just sounds super nice. And for boss tasks, if you just really want to focus on boss Slayer, you get that option of triple boss tasks. Now, it would still be a random selection, just how boss tasks roll currently, but you would get them 3 times more commonly if you want it. So I know that sounds really aggressive, but as infrequently as you already get boss tasks, now, I don't know. I guess it's subjective. You could say it's frequent or infrequent, but I feel like it's pretty infrequent right now, and tripling that, yes, that would be a massive change, but it would cost a lot of Slayer points, and I feel like at Grandmaster, I don't know, I feel like it's acceptable. I think it's fair. So, a lot to talk about in the comments. I also want to read your guys' suggestions. If you have any minor tweaks or changes, go down and let me know. So, I think those would just be absolutely awesome. Now, those are pretty much it for my suggestions with combat achievements. I just gotta say, let me just make sure I didn't cover anything. Okay, so going back to the Thrall thing, get rid of this longer thing and just make it cost 1 fewer prayer point per elite, and then Master and Grandmaster, so it costs 3, 4, and 5 prayer points. And now I want to talk about Osmumten's Fang real quickly, because there's been more drama on it. It did get nerfed by Jagex, and I do want to apologize for not making rambles earlier. I have been trying to get my setup all nice. You guys will absolutely love my new setup. I got a new DSLR camera, and I have a nice organized room. I reorganized it, and I made it all nice. Bought some furnishing. So next time I make a ramble with a face cam, which should be on Tuesday or Wednesday, I think you guys will really love the look of it. Also, I got a new mic, so if you guys can tell, I don't know if you guys can tell, it sounds pretty similar to the last one. Anyway, Osmumten's Fang got a little bit of a nerf, which I don't know all the calcs, but it's just put barely above a rapier now, it seems as though. So this is affecting, obviously, all players with Osmumten's Fang, and I feel like it's been a pretty negative change. Like, a lot of people don't like when their items get worse. So I want to just say what my opinions are on it and what I would like to see change from it. So again, I'm not totally advocating for it, but this is my thoughts on it. So when people ask, I know what I want to see from it. I want to have Osmumten's Fang charged. First of all, I want it to be reverted. I want the nerf to be reverted. So I want it to be back to the original Osmumten's Fang that's really OP. I wanted to keep that, but I want it to be charged with 2 soul runes per hit. Yes, I want it to be charged, but you have to keep in mind, this would go alongside a change of charged weapons entirely. Charged weapons need to be charged up to 100k charges. All of them do. I feel like that's a streamlined change that should be implemented in this game. Nobody likes to constantly recharge their shit. Like, I'm sorry. So I'm going to bring up a few examples of this. This would go with all charged items, by the way. So Scythe, Trident, Sanguinesti, Tent Whip, Blowpipe, Serp, all the wieldy weapons, Blood Fury. Now, we already have it with the Ring of Suffering. Ring of Suffering is a great example of shoving in noted charges, and it charges up to 100,000. It's so great because you just do it once, and it feels like you get it for years, you know? It's a great change. And alongside the Scythe, I'm sorry, we need to get rid of that fucking well outside of Tob Bank. That well is so stupid. Yes, it's cool for thematics, but nobody actually likes going to that goddamn well that has a bunch of weird fucking options and charging their scythe to only 20k charges. I'm sorry, but they need to change this, and this is not an opinion. It is my own opinion, so just keep that in mind. But I really do feel like they should get rid of it, and they should make it so the scythe is only charged with 3 blood runes per hit now. Get rid of the Vials of Blood. Vials of Blood should be saved for Bastions and Battle Mages, or whatever they are, potions. And the scythe should just be charged with 3 blood runes per hit. And it should be charged up to 100k. So shove 300,000 blood runes into the scythe, and now you have a 100,000 charged scythe. No well required, no vials of blood, and you can charge it whenever you want. That just needs to happen. I'm sorry. People are butthurt about charged weapons, and if you want to bring balance to the game, Osmumten's Fang, for example, which is super good, I think the 2 Soul Rune charge is pretty thematic, and the reason I say that is because Tumikin Shadow is also charged with a Soul Rune, and I don't know how many Soul Runes, just 1 and 3. I can't remember the fucking charge. Maybe it's 2 and 5 for Chaos. But I feel like thematically it could be charged with Soul Runes. I initially said deaths, and I only said 1 death rune. I think 2 Soul Runes is actually appropriate because it is a 5-tick weapon, so it is slower. And obviously it'll take a long-ass time to consume 100,000 charges with this. But yeah, 2 Soul Runes would thematically fit with the 2 accuracy rolls that it gets and the 2 defensive rolls that the monster is also getting, which is really strange. But I really don't think that nerfing Osmumten's Fang, not the Osmumten's Fang, sorry, what did I say? Nerfing it is a bad decision. I think it should just be back to where it was, but keep it charged and make an entire change over the board of charged weapons. I feel like I'm just repeating myself a million times. I really do apologize for that. It is a ramble at the end of the day. Anyway, that is pretty much it for me. I wanted to just cover these CA rewards, my ideas on it. I want to hear from you guys down in the comments. Tomorrow, I might be making another ramble potentially, but I might just wait until I have the whole entire setup ready to go, and I'll have a face cam ramble. And I do want to talk about the previous polls that came out recently and kind of share my thoughts on some of the things that passed and failed. And also, there's just been a lot of other drama that's been happening that I have not been up to date with. So just watch out for quite a few rambles in the upcoming weeks. And thank you guys for listening. Go enjoy the rest of your guys' evening, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.